Well, this is very exciting. I've been planning this for a long time, and all of a sudden it's coming to fruition. We've had Jakey here for the last 2 days, and he's been digging the area that I'm now walking over, and it's going to be a secret garden. It's going to be lovely planting and a really nice quiet part of the farm that hasn't been used for anything before. And then as I turn around this way, you will see now behind me a path that leads all the way down to the pond. And it's just so nice to have this area of the farm that was completely hidden away, unable to be used, full of brambles and old sort of clay and bits in the bottom of the clay. It's now a really useful area that's going to be beautiful as we start the planting. So I look forward to showing you more of this as it gets developed, but just enjoy this as an introduction to our new secret garden and secret path. I don't know about you, but I've always found starting projects the hardest thing. Just knowing where to start, how best to start. No matter how well planned you are, it's making that initial inroads. And just looking at this, I knew what I wanted to achieve, but when you've got a huge digger and ground that is just clay mixed with rock, and there's not a lot of space to deal with, to actually sort of sculpt it like that. I did art at art college, did graphic design, and I remember thinking, I don't know how you do sculpture, because you start off with a block and you've got to carve something out of it. And effectively that's what Jakey's doing here. He's like a real artist with that great big bucket on the digger, scraping away and forming things. So obviously he's seeing it in 3D, and then you've got to think about what I do with all the soil that I'm digging out and all that. And I guess it's years of experience, but I find it fascinating and very, very clever. I haven't yet asked him if I could ever go. I don't know whether he'd ever let me. Sort of scary yet exhilarating at the same time. I mean, look at this. He's sculpting out there the shelves that we're going to have for planting on and all that kind of thing. And it just is so clever. We literally never would have been able to do this by hand. That gives you an idea of the scale. There's Tim standing on the top there. Roses are looking particularly wonderful at the moment. And the nice thing about that bit of garden is that you're going to be able to see out and see the roses and everything else beyond, even though you're going to be tucked away in the corner there. So I mentioned getting rid of it. Well, this again was Jakey's idea. Around the edge of the field at the bottom, where year on year out there's been ploughing, and where the tractor turns round, where the plough turns round, there's a groove along the edge of the field. So he's using the discarded soil to fill in the groove and just smooth that bit out, which will be really good because it also floods in that area where the rain runs down the slope. It formulates in that groove, and that whole area at the bottom of the field becomes very wet and very flooded. So hopefully this will help. Quite a nice shot of the tractor going past all the veg, looking really good, nice and green everywhere. And then back to scraping it out, very patient, bucket after bucket after bucket. Hard to imagine how many wheelbarrows full that would have been. I don't really tire of looking at this. I hope you're not getting bored, but I think it's incredibly exciting and quite an adventure really to see something appearing out of nothing. If you've never been to the farm, please try and get along sometime. It is great to see, you can see the things on these videos, but actually to come and see it firsthand, walk around it, hear the noises of the animals, hear the birds tweeting, you get such a totally different feel for what it's like. But look at this, from just a few hours earlier where this was the end of the bund, almost impossible to walk over, to have this nice bit of garden. Now this was on Friday, so this is day 2 of the excavation, and he's now starting to make his way down the side where the fence is. So this has never been traversed at all. The fence was erected when the road was put in about four years ago or so. No, maybe 5 years ago. Yeah, probably actually 5 years ago. And also this is the other side of the bund. This is the polytunnel side with all of our wild flowers and our poppies, and our Californian poppies, I know they now. And just making my way up over the bund. And then the digger appears. It was great to keep popping back every hour or so just to see how much further he'd got. Look at that, out of nothing, a pathway is appearing. So all those bushes on the other side of the fence, they were planted by the council when the road was put in, and they're now a few years old, so they're getting more established, starting to grow, and they're going to make a really nice barrier between us and the road. So that path is going to be lovely and shielded all the way down on one side. Here's another panoramic view over the market garden, the polytunnels, the flower garden, the patio. There's the creation station. All the way up to the greenhouse, the new greenhouse at the top. So here we go, just walking around. So this is going to be an entrance. I'm going to try and put an arbour there with probably roses growing over the arbour. So you can look through those roses, and see the other roses in the rose bed. And we come down through here, and there's that path. Amazing to walk through somewhere that has just never been passable. It really is quite a thrill. I can imagine having a few benches here where you can just stop and have a chat, take it all in, feeling really quite secluded. One of the reasons for doing all of this is that I have been reading in a great book about people with PTSD and how they like to feel secure in a place, safe and secure, and yet have a view out to know what the exit is. And so this garden is going to be tucked away in a corner where there are going to be boundaries, and it is going to be safe and quiet to sit, but actually also to be able to see in 2 directions to get out. This bit amazes me, how just using that bucket you can move that entire huge machine and manipulate it over by a little bit to go sideways, almost like walking it. This is now coming down from the pond at the bottom. So this is as he was just breaking through to the bottom end. It's an amazing day's work. And this is now looking round. There's the bottom of the field. Here's the pond, unfortunately dried up at the moment, but we're going to try and do some more work on that soon. How brilliant is that? And then using the weight of the bucket to smooth over the path.